So the other teams need a Mandel brick now if they want to get ahead of Sammy's team.
Yeah, and let's take a quick look at the overalls because it is slightly different because again everybody's getting
senza Mendo.
You're still walking in with like 4 mil in total. So you have a hair more than you started.
Ah, minchia.
Because
Sam sta facendo strage.
as you ended up getting eliminated, but a huge advantage here, Vivid. I still think though, Vivid. When we talk about loadouts,
Sta facendo strage.
I still think if you're like Team Caffrey, Team J Device, you still have. I mean, you got like over 2 mil per player. Like you can still kit yourself pretty well.
I mean, Team Caffrey right there. Remember, that was the team that we saw go down first in the game, right? That was Gorilla's team in admin. So the fact that they were fighting, they did pick up some of those early kills. They were looting admin, right? We saw them in managers, able to probably put some stuff in their safe box. They're actually the second healthiest team going into game number 2, even though they were one of the first teams down, right? So kind of showing us, hey, listen, that early aggression, that early kind of willingness to go in and loot and make sure that you kind of are finding some value from each one of these games is going to inevitably put you in a good position for following matches.
Yeah, a good shout. Now, Ben, I want you to give some analytical brain to this. We're going to take a look at our operator choices. If you see 2 green dots, that means they have both of those still left. And
Dun 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 dun.
So as you quick glance through this graphic, obviously still plenty of options. But taking a look at our operator selections, do see about half of our teams running Stinger. Anything else kind of stand out? It looks like about half of our teams running D-Wolf in that first round as well.
Yeah, Stinger seemed very popular in that one. Toxic we saw a lot of as well. So a lot of the teams have used up some of their allocation there, and that's kind of your main like push meta, when you use Toxic and then go in. So having less of those available is going to change how people play. We've only seen 2 Ularus used so far by the look of it from Sammy's team and Mendo, right? So we've got quite a few Ularus left to go. That fire for using defensively, blocking routes, for following up on knocks is very, very useful as well. We've only seen 1 Luna left as well. So a lot of teams holding back some of those stronger operators for the later games like we thought they would do. But maybe surprised to see so many Raptors used. I wasn't really sure how Raptor might work in this kind of environment, but obviously works well for Sammy's team, but also used by J Device and Breadman as well for some more intel gathering there.
Yeah, I like that. Vivid, any shouts from you?
After watching that, right, and how many fights that we saw, the fact that, some Toxic and Stingers were on a team, the passive, because they are support characters, kind of giving that faster res off, right? That's going to play a big factor. So, you kind of asked the question before the games actually started, hey, listen, what do you think about the operators? Now, seeing how that game kind of played out, I would really like to kind of spread out the Stinger and the Toxic picks to kind of make sure that you have at least one of them available in each one of the games, right? Because we are playing 4 games, so it would be possible for you to go, Toxic, and then Stinger. So that way you do have that ability to go ahead and res faster. The only team that did go ahead and use a combination of both of them, so they effectively will not be able to do that in each one of the games, would be Team Caffrey right there, because they did have a Stinger and a Toxic. So I kind of like what the teams are thinking with that, faster res passive. Very, very smart.
Yeah, no, that's a really good shout, honestly, Vivid. I think both of y'all's breakdowns were great. The other thing, again, a little bit surprised, but it does make sense. Just an information gathering tool. We saw half the teams running a Raptor. This is the first time we've seen Raptor in like a semi-competitive format, which is pretty cool here in operations. So fun to jump into the next one. I think we're almost ready for the game. So Ben, I want to go to you here. We're moving to Brackish. Any words of wisdom for our next map as we're jumping into this one? Maybe what are some differences, obviously, for those at home who haven't seen this at a competitive level with how fast this could play? Brackish versus Zero Dam, for instance.
Yeah, it's a totally different dynamic, really. Like we talked about earlier, there's loads of different routes you can take around. You don't get quite as pinched down into the same areas as much as you do in Zero Dam. You can also get some hectic fights around the Mandelbrick. I remember in previous tournaments, I think the China Invitational, seeing a huge fight in the sort of Old Town area in the middle, and teams just piling on, and the Mandelbrick going back and forth. And that village area is very hard to defend, and almost ends up being just the last team to just kind of hang in there and mop up at the end. You don't always want to be the 3rd party. You want to be the 4th or the 5th party that's the last people to roll in and just pick everyone off while they're vulnerable, and then you can take advantage of that and get the Mandelbrick, right? That's what the teams have got to do. It doesn't matter that they're 10 million behind Sammy's team. They need to get a Mandelbrick, and then they can get on the same playing field here.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny, Bid, because your shout about, hey, let's loot up and get some value so that we can be more prepared for these next rounds. Sammy did it all in the first round. Got the kills, got the loot, and got the battle bricks. So they've got a huge advantage going into Brackish. Ben, we'll check back in with you here in just a little bit. The game is getting started. It is time for Brackish. And Vivid, if I remember correctly, and nothing has changed, which I don't believe it has, our mana brick is going to be spawning in Museum near dead center of map.
Wow. So yeah, definitely going to be a spawn that is going to have some early priority over that one. Usually how Brackish plays out, right? A couple of teams are going to be spawning towards the tower. A lot of teams on the north side as well. And then usually one of the teams has an early advantage towards running into the museum. So early vantage point over top of the Mandel break for them. It's going to be interesting to see what team is going to be blessed with that spawn, as you can see it right there. But here we go, game number 2, an early lead and a big ups for Sammy Zucks, Lasik, and Muyo Muyo. And as you can see early on, the gun, it looks like a full meta build I would buy with my 1 billion stash value, right? The gold bullets is going to be in as well. Full investment. Why not? You're rich.
Dude, also getting the T1 spawn next to the museum is crazy. Now, last time they didn't. Came in third party and it worked out for them. This time they get prio spawn, and we'll see if maybe they're the ones getting third party and getting taken down early. But they do have an advantage. And Sammy has double committed to Raptor, by the way. He's committing at the very beginning of this tournament to run both the Raptors off rip. They will not be able to use this again. Obviously, a lot of value there to be able to see where they are.
And an early knock, right? Okay. Psychop is going to be knocked over there and actually going to be fooled. So only has 1 life remaining if they are able to pick up that res. And it looks like they are going to be able to go ahead and do that. And hey, just rinse and repeat for Sammy Zucks & Co right now, right? Early control over the initial building, kind of getting blessed 2 games in a row with the spawns, but taking full advantage of it, making sure that they go ahead and loot up. There's no rush to go ahead and pick up the Mantle Brick right now. And yeah, the res is going to try to come in. Rockstar is going to be full aware of the fact that Chapped equal plays. They're going to be trying to push in from over here, but the Stinger res is going to make this just a little bit quicker, so they should be fine.
Watch out, we could have like...
Yeah, this would be a very aggressive push off rip if you're J-Devise and Chap. Equal plays, obviously a very strong team.
We have a molly here. We have a molly here. We need to move. So that's perfect. Nice cam. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, I think we just take Medwing and loot this now if they're not. Do we go cross?
Yeah, we're gonna go cross.
Okay, brick is up, able to be grabbed. There is a small brick can be picked up. We know Sammy's team is in Museum already, and it looks like this squad is headed straight to Museum. Should interact with them shortly. And down goes the drone over the top, which means they know who's inside. It is at least a Raptor. It's just a matter of who is running it.
Just repair.
Yeah, so Sammy is going to be fully aware of the fact that this team is going to be pushing from over here. You see the little bit of a timer that is on your screen there. That means it's basically a timer that this team has to go ahead and decode before that timer runs out. Else the Mana Break resets. It kind of prevents teams from just camping with the Mana Break in some odd position. So there is something to be said and look out for that 4-minute and 30-second timer. As you can see here, the other side of things, Nowhere, Caffrey Plays, and Gorilla. They're going to be sharing tower, actually, on the side of Summit, Mendo, and Alb. So tower currently occupied by 2 teams. They're kind of separated, and they're just looking to go ahead and loot.
Yeah, and actually, off screen, I did see that they've at least picked up a fossil for like 334 or something like that.
Nice.
So they found a couple small reds and some decent loot thus far. Maybe actually he pulls it here. Sorry, I might have a little bit of a sneak peek. Ooh, my bad.
I'm Traveler Ghost.
Little prophecy. Just picked up his fossil, looking pretty solid to start things off. And this is the thing about, you know, this map as well, Viv, is what we see in esports, is what we see in these show matches. If you do pull Tower of Babel, you know you're going to be late to the Mantle Brick anyways. Might as well go for all of the high value loot here first, and then you make your way out of here. Remember, though, every kill's a million technic alloy, so it's kind of a, do we want to play high risk, high reward, or do we want to play a little bit slower and maybe not pick up quite as much value, but it is a lot safer.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the other side of England, that's not necessarily as safe. Having the mana break and pushing over towards the decode station, it looks like right now Sammy, Sucks, and Co. They're using the Raptor drone to go ahead and look over top of the decode station. Let's go ahead and take a listen in here, Go, to see what their plan is right now.
Go now, go now, go now. How's the threat?
Oh.
Walking for stamina here.
Stanno a porch.
Running here. Might be bots. Bots.
I saw bots on the road on my bird.
I'm at hazard 0.
Wow. Gosh. They're decoding. They don't care. Already going for it.
I mean, hey, might as well. I mean, at the very least, it gives you some sort of semblance of control, right? Like, you know exactly where you need to defend. You know where everybody's trying to get to.
Play around here. Play your audio.
Everybody on the map can see the decoding station that has been selected.
What if I just play on this? What if I play on this? I can play audio here. I think I can play audio here.
Okay, I'm playing audio here.
Because I have smoke. I can hold it very easily with smoke.
Yeah, and they have so much control over this area. It was very smart of them to go for this decoding station specifically. As you can see, a quick peek there at Muyo Muyo's inventory. Full gold loadout for sure. For definitely going to be all of them. 3 minutes remaining on this decode. They have so much control over it because they have kind of the high ground over top of the decode station, and there's kind of like these staircases that lead up to them, right? And running up a staircase at them is not going to be the easiest thing in the world either. So they have a very strong position to go ahead and lock down the second mana break of this competition. And if they effectively do that, let's think about how the leaderboard could play out after this, right? If they get this second mana break, they've all but locked in at least second place, because only one other team would be able to, you know, pick up 2 mana breaks in games 3 and 4. So this is huge.
Fortune favors the bold in a competition like this.
I don't want to give them like too much space.
I just want jumping like over here near blue. Yeah, like right on that ping.
Yeah, I can't get into my spot.
Mi sa che proprio il team di Sammy è più forte. Eh sì. Sta l'S6, Sammy e Muo che è bravo. Peccato che non c'è Watch, non lo vedo.
But it's looking at some of the loadouts there for Breadman, right? Purple ammo is going to be loaded for them, so kind of scary in that regard, because if they did go ahead and push the mana break, they would be facing gold armor, and they would be at a huge disadvantage. So not sure if they have the hindsight to go ahead and think about the fact that, hey, listen, Sammy's team going to be on the mana break, they're going to be in gold, we have purple, we don't want to push it. But some of the teams, listen, they're looking like they're trying to get closer. Chat, Data Vise, and Equal Plays looking like they want to try to get in somewhat of a position to maybe play for this mana break. Of course, we saw Breadman, Void, and Precision as well over there in the hotel, kind of looking and trying to scope things out, but nobody's really daring to go ahead and push or invest anything towards this mana break. Are they going to get it for free?
I sure hope not. Especially with this much on the line. But nobody is moving this direction.
On my red ping over there. Oh, you can't see.
This is crazy.
Archway by the decode.
I mean, look at the position, right? We can see from his POV, it's so scary to go ahead and push that, right? Look at
Oh mio Dio.
There they go.
Yawn up there, and
Oh mio Dio.
look at the map, though, right? Another team's going to be coming in from the south. 1 minute remaining on the decode right now.
Ora si beccano tutti e 4, sicuramente.
We unfortunately have to steal. Oh, this is so bad. He just jump shot me. I'm healing right
Yeah, it is so bad. Hey, this is why getting the break early, obviously they had priority spawn. They got a lot of luck on their side. They won't have priority spawn next map 100%. But it's a benefit to get this aggressive. And some of the other teams got punished early, so they're playing a bit slower. And now they have to move. 30 seconds to play the steal. It's going to be Zap's team maybe first to shoot.
They're full gold.
They needed me.
Okay, you're good, you're good. Let them retake, let them retake. We keep that position.
20 seconds. It looks like they went ahead and forced off Sammy's team. Knew there was a third team in the vicinity. As you can see over there, the comms were coming in from Zapak. He said, let them take it. Very, very smart there, because if he effectively shot them while they were on the decode, then boom, Sammy's team would have just gotten it for free, right? So very, very smart from Zapak right there to go ahead and let, I believe it probably would have been Chap's team, go ahead and steal the mana brick whilst they were kind of Tempest ulting towards Sammy's team. Now they're going to go ahead and back up, reset, make sure they are not the ones that are going to be third-partied. Now LASIK, Sammy sucks. They have to go ahead and recapture the mana brick.
I'm taking mantle. Got it.
Able to retake. It's going to reset the timer to about 3 minutes, I believe. We've got plenty of time on the clock comparatively in zero. Very weak, though. Less in trouble. But with this team, so should be fine here with some nice cover over the top.
Saw that red repair. That's going to be huge to go ahead and repair. You could probably imagine the gold armor might have just actually saved him right there from going down. So again, kind of already seeing some of those advantages being played up, but now it's a full reset. Sammy Sucks and Co. They're still in this advantageous position. 2 minutes left. I mean, the only reason that they lost it in the first place was there was kind of like this pseudo 6v3 kind of going on simultaneously that was able to actually allow Chap to go ahead and secure that decode. Is that going to happen again, or Sammy Sucks kind of in that good position?
That's a great question. Nice angle over the top here. Oh, nice pickup.
Oh, wow.
Gotta make a move on this. The question is how. With one down, you can make a move for the retake on the brick.
Oh mio Dio muo! Oh mio Dio muo!
Good grief.
Yeah.
L'MK47 prossimo meta, raga.
Right there again, that res comes in so fast for Sammy Sucks, but as the fight goes on,
È sbagliato, zio.
Breadman and Precision, they're fully aware of that. The sniper, you called him out, goes. Breadman's known for it, knocks out Moyo Moyo. The assist is going to be coming in from the Allure Rocket, now left as a duo. They still do have control over the decoding station, but Toxic all coming in. They're going to be having to go ahead and remove that, and the armor is not in a good situation right now for Sammy. Sammy has to stop jumping, by the way, because Equal Plays was able to take him out before from the building offset of this position because he jumps so much.
He's aggressive. He's getting excited. Two pushing up. Nice trades. Hit fire shots come in, and a nice trade with the teammate. LASIK comes in. That's two. Getting one.
Oh mio Dio, una mucchiata. Chi rimarrà vivo?
We got 70 seconds on the clock for the brick, but they got to play for the kills to even have a chance to retake this steal. They know they have an advantage. They got to push it. One traded out. It's going to be a 2v2.
Sì, sì.
For the final fight for Sammy Sucks' team. Are the infallible finally fallible? Will Precision make a trade here through the smoke?
I'm trying to back up.
Bread is down, and they're backing up right now with 45 seconds on the clock.
I got you.
I think they could have played for the trade, maybe, but instead, going to try to play safe.
Yeah, they went ahead and opted for the reset right there because they heard the other team coming in. Precision is going to be well aware of that. Chap steals the mana break, jumps up top. He picks up two. That's going to be Voa, Precision, and Breadman. They're going to be knocked out of the competition right now. What's going on with Sammy's team, though? Were they able to go ahead
Che culo, hanno aspettato, hai visto? Sempre così.
You got to imagine that they must
Sempre così.
down. Full reset now. Chap, J-Device.
Chi arriva per ultimo vince.
Sammy Sucks just found himself in. Right, they have the advantage now.
Just run train, get to us.
Here's a look at it.
I'm very low on everything.
I'm good.
It does look like
Back to our building now. Come to me.
Equal Plays,
Rotate in here.
Chat, J-Device have complete control
Come left with me on the
over the situation. I'm still seeing movement on the point. I'd love if we can swap back over.
Like, just sit here and defend this brick from this building.
It wasn't a full wipe, maybe, on those teams.
Yeah.
It looks like,
So
which was our expectation.
That's okay.
I think Sammy is alive as a solo because there's one white dot right there in the center right there. So there's definitely a solo left alive for this team. But Equal Plays, Chap, and J-Device, they fully retreated to this building, right? They gave up that position to go ahead and defend the mana brick from over here, right? The only trio left over here kind of fighting for it is going to be Zapok's trio, but they can see all the bodies on the ground. They are fully aware that there is a solo somewhere because they can see the two bodies on the ground. He's going to go ahead and step
No, LASIK, no.
Solo is going to be found.
Era sopravvissuto.
We're going to try to defend the mana brick. 1 minute remaining. Can J-Device, Chap, and Co. defend this?
Sticking it.
Reset this quick. You
A
got
big pickup. That's Sammy's team
Nice.
fully wiped, I believe. And that's
La Tempest.
Go for it.
Huge there, finding value from that. Now 2 minutes remains for Zapok,
I got your height.
Flycop, and Roxo. So next time this is solo, it's going to be very, very low, just 90 seconds. So Chap, J-Device, and Equal Plays, they have to play very, very fast right now. When we were looking at the map, by the way, there were still 2 teams in tower. So this is essentially a 3v3 right now.
Down here, okay?
I touched them.
two isolated fights, the fight in tower and the fight for the brick.
Anything, no? We're just
No,
like,
I need.
Here, I got a little something.
No more repair.
I got a 66.
listen,
By the way, the Tempest can use the discharges through these walls right here. We just saw him use it towards the mana brick, which would cancel.
Ho letto male.
So
Ho da 296 sta veste.
Position right now, but only one more disarm is left available right now.
We can ape this guy?
I don't know.
Snipe ult?
40. I don't hit him. He's further away, he's probably below. Bird?
I destroy the bird.
37 seconds on the clock. Chap, Jadavise, equal plays down below. I'm loving this free cam perspective. We are running out of
Fare il giro da sinistra. A fare il giro da sinistra, tocca push dal container rosso.
There's the move, there's the action. One goes down, it's gonna be a 3v2. 20 seconds, gotta go for a seize while also not losing your life. Chap, Jadavise, where are you? Hello, I found you again. That's easy for his team to set his team up, but somebody's gotta go for the seize.
Only 15 seconds left, right? The trade does come in. There's going to be a solo left. He's going to be on the mana break directly. That was going to be Jadavise trying to steal it away. Unsuccessful in that regard. So Zapbok, Rockstar, and Psycop are going to have full control over the mana break. There's going to be 90 seconds before they are able to go ahead and decode this successfully. We got to ask the question, though, Goes, are the teams in Tower still there? Are they ever going to show up to this mana break?
Sì.
I want to say, based on our feed, it actually looks like during all of that chaos,
Right now we can chill. Just try to loot, take dog tag.
I want to say maybe there was a fight that went down inside of the Tower of Babel. Let's try to get a read on that here shortly. Obviously, we had to keep our eyes on the brick, and we're getting some nice loot, obviously, on Psycop here after. I mean, there's bodies everywhere, so these ID tags, obviously the dog tags are 150k, so that's very valuable. But they're just going to sit on brick and make sure that they get it. I'm taking a look at our back-end feed. I think that, I think Summit Squad got wiped.
That looks like Summit Squad went down in the tower. That was going to be a straight-up 3v3 in the tower while all of this was going down.
Oh, mio Dio.
Now we kind of see the bird's eye view from the map. Gorilla, Nowhere, and Caffrey, they're apparently completely content with conceding this mana break in its entirety. I mean, of course, they had to rotate out of tower with another team there, so maybe they were kind of worried about that, but looks like they won the fight and they still did not push the mana break. So there it is. The mana break leaderboard is going to be taking a little bit of a shake-up right there, as Zapbok's team is going to be jumping up into either first or second place. The tiebreaker, of course, between this team and Sammy's team will be stash value, so we'll have to see how that kind of plays out. But you would imagine that after this game, right, picking up all of this gold stuff, all the dog tags that are in the area, Zapbok might be in the lead.
Yeah, I think the big thing here, and I think you called it out perfectly, the fight inside of the Tower of Babel stalled these two teams out. Obviously, Nowhere, Caffrey, Gorilla, they win the fight, which is huge for them. That's 3 kills. That's 3 mil no matter what. They've been looting up a ton, so they've got a nice stash value probably inside their safe boxes. But I think the big question now is, I think we got about 60 seconds or so on the clock, maybe a hair more.
Yeah.
Like, we can still technically see extractions here. You save all the loot you brought in, and you pick up your kill loot, and you pick up everything in your bag. Like, that's a huge value add, not only for the leaderboard, but also for your loadout for the next round.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I thought they...
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was thinking maybe that somebody was going to...
Oh mio Dio, il giallo.
And kind of just like stack all of the value onto one member. Only one person can take that dog tag extract. But I guess they're going to be opting to maybe just...
Voglio capire il motivo perché si tengono le medagliette.
In their safe box, and that's going to be how they're going to get out. But I mean, Zapbok seems going to be very, very happy with this. They're going to go ahead and take no backpack, so yeah, they can't put any like giant items in there. But they're going to be walking out with what, 2 guns? Their safe box probably loaded up with dog tags, ammo, and their rigs and their pockets, everything like that. So yeah, huge raid for this trio for sure.
Yeah, really, really good game. And this is what I expected from this squad. I think they're really talented, and I think they've all got their individual skills, but they also have the knowledge of how to play a comp format like this. And so it's working out for them in the second round. Be very curious to see how much we lost on Sammy's side, because I do think they actually got a couple kills in that round as well. So not really losing value, and they already had a nice stash value on top. But I guess they spent a lot of money on their loadout. Pretty cool stuff. So great job from all of our teams. I really liked, actually, Breadman's position coming in late into that fight. It was just too much chaos to stay alive. There's a quick look at maybe a sneak peek at our overall leaderboard as we fly out of the map, and the game is over. What a map. Dude, this format is crazy. It is non-stop action. Finn, welcome back, dude. What'd you
Sì,
think
sì.
about Rockish?
Hanno vinto.
Yeah, Yeah, another great game. I thought great to see. It was so close with that break going Sammy's team right at the beginning, right? And I'm sure they.
Penso che ci sia la rimonta.
For everyone else watching, it's great to see that go to someone else. It was traded back and forth. Decode of the brick started much earlier this time. Last game, I think we probably had 6 minutes on the clock before we even saw it go in. But this time, 13+ minutes, first Mandel brick. And it just went back and forth, back and forth. Really strong defensive position again that Sammy's team were in there. Like I think you mentioned during the cast, it's a good spot to go for it. I think some of the other ones I've seen on Brakesh when you're in the middle of the old town, like we talked about, are just carnage, whereas that was a little easier to hold. But yeah, I'm really pleased to see how Zapok's team managed to deal with that. Like we talked about, they kind of came in with the, managed to stay alive till later in the game, come in when everyone else is hurt and just pick up the pieces a little bit. And then they only really had to defend against, it was Chap's team coming in, trying to attack at the end there. And I think J Device he was left as a solo one spot. But they only really had to defend against that one team coming in. And the tower teams just kind of did their own thing.
Yeah. And that oftentimes happens with our tower teams, obviously, because they have to fight each other. Like, they can't just leave necessarily. I mean, I guess you could. Hopefully you don't get shot in the back. But fun stuff there. Let's look back on that map and the replays from that one. Ben, I'll toss it right back to you to talk me through some of the replays. Like we said, action-packed and some early fights.
Yeah, really early knock there from Equal, but they got that res. We also saw the boss go down. I don't sure if we saw it on the broadcast. I saw it in the feed, the helicopter boss. I don't know if they wanted to loot that or maybe just so it wasn't flying around trying to shoot you all game is probably pretty useful. But yeah, some great early action, and then most of it concentrated around obviously this Mandelbrick area when they went for that early decode. Quite a few knocks again going on. We had a Toxic, I think, on Sammy's team. I think it might have been 2 games in a row they had a Toxic, right? So they had quick revives again there. They had smokes. There was a crazy amount of util coming in on some of these knocks as well, right? We saw some of Sammy's teammates go down there, and then we just saw about 5 Uluru nades and rockets come flying in. But this was the big push that came in that took out most of Sammy's team. I think it was Lessig that survived for a while. We saw Lessig hanging on as a solo, getting in the mix a little bit. There he is, and that's Lessig getting taken down. And then after that, it was just down to a couple of teams. And here we are. I think this is the tower teams, right, having their scrap. We didn't really manage to see much of that, but that was Summit's team getting taken out by Gorilla's team. I was a little surprised we didn't see maybe one of Gorilla's team take the dog tag extra.
Bella, ciulato.
They might go and grab that to get some stuff out, but they decided to go for the safe box route and keep the dog tags. This is the clear up. I think we saw Gorilla coming out into the surrounding area around the tower and then getting the different angles, and they just picked them apart, surrounded them there. But yeah, this was the thick of it. The Mandelbrick, they got the last go on the Mandelbrick with plenty of time to spare, and we actually saw someone extract from the round as well. I think it was Zapok or one of their team members. It was just one slot on the no bag because you're onto the hard mode rules, so they got the no bag, and we saw someone leave the round, and there you go with the leaderboards.
Yeah, this is just Game 2's leaderboards. This isn't our total. This is just what they earned in this round. Obviously, not as big of a round technically as Sammy's team, Vivid, but talk me through some of these scores. Still some solid numbers across the board.
Yeah, we were kind of questioning what the economy was going to look like for Sammy's team after that one. Yeah, they did pick up 1 kill, but, netting right there, a minus 1.6 million alloy in the game right there, which, honestly is not that bad considering how much stuff they actually bought. So I think their first game was actually so good that their economy might be good enough to just continuously buy all of that armor and gear that we just kind of saw them in right there. But, hey, listen, once again, we're seeing Team Caffrey. They've got to be pretty wealthy at this point as well, because in game number 1, they were the second team right there. They pick up like 4 mil there. In the game number 2, they do the same thing. Yeah, they're not making it out of these raids or anything like that. They're not fighting for the minute break. But they're doing well asset-wise.
Yeah, take a look at our overall. The gap has been closed here, Ben. Obviously, a couple teams near the bottom. They haven't been able to get much going in the first 2 rounds. But things are pretty even, Ben.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see maybe J Device's team up there as well. Obviously, Caffrey's team second place going into game 2, but Device's team and Caffrey's team both managed to get a decent amount of money despite Zapok's team obviously getting the Mandelbrick and essentially the win in that game. But I think a lot of that comes also with the kills in that previous graphic, right? The kills are much more spread around different teams this time round. That game 1, Sammy's team had 12 kills or whatever, took home so much of the money, million alloy per kill. When they're spread around each team, lots of different teams picking them up, then it's going to keep this much more even. And it's super close now at the top. What, 3 million between Sammy and Zapok's team, only 1 Mandelbrick each, and now it's going to be down to the other 4 teams to try and make sure they can get the next Mandel break, and they don't want to let them put away and get 2 in game 2, because like you said earlier, you get 2, you're guaranteed at least second, right?
Yeah, exactly. We are headed to Space City next. We're going to play Space City back-to-back, folks. We're going to let the players breathe for a second because it's been utter carnage, as Ben like to say. I totally agree. Carnage, chaos, and everything in between. We'll take a very short break here in the booth. When we come back, Game 3, Space City. Game 4, the last game right after that. Space City again. Who will win? Only time will tell.
Should we really be sending her to the front lines in her current state? You ought to know her better. Vandermeer, codenamed Vlinder, role support. Vlinder is a medical specialist from GTI Europe, specializing in pharmaceutical research, possessing outstanding medical expertise, and a strong sense of responsibility. Vlinder's med drones can be deployed to a targeted area, dispersing med-infused nanobots that restore teammates' health, providing them with an adrenaline boost. They may also be deployed on herself, following and continuously restoring her own health for a limited time. Her windmill smoke grenades are guided by gesture sensoring tech. Upon impact with a service, the grenades create a cloud of smoke, creating cover for teammates.
Smoke grenade out.
Vlinder's Flutter Rescue UAVs will automatically target downed teammates, administer medical injections when deployed. Once the injection is administered, Vlinder may approach the downed teammate and manually revive them. During deployment, the UAVs may also utilize their active defense system, automatically absorbing 1 instance of explosive damage per deployment, and applying a buff effect of Vlinder.
Counting on you guys. Vital signs stable. Prepare for rescue. I've got you. It's taking effect. I'm here. Feeling better.
I got double sniped. Nice, good damage, good damage, good damage.
Dark dart. My dark.
One crack.
Knock one. I'm dead.
Somebody's dead.
Molly though.
Got one.
Take it.
Yeah, I got it.
Go back, everyone, go back.
I'm in. Grief by AI.
Nice. Knocked one.
Give me a second. Left, I'm making it. Fast. On the left, I'm touching him.
Here. In the corner.
Dead.
Nice, retake.
No, you retake.
All right, we are back with the Elite Operation Show match, and it certainly has been elite. It has been elite and chaotic and carnage and everything in between. Been Really fun stuff. We're halfway through. Leaderboard's looking pretty solid. I want you to walk us through the operator selections that we've had thus far, though, because, again, every team can only use each operator twice in our overall competition. And it already looks like some of our operators might be grayed out. Walk me through this graphic.
Yeah, there's been some interesting choices. We kind of saw a full commit there from Sammy's team. I think they thought, you know, let's just see if we can get this second Mandel brick and get a leaderboard place wrapped up. They used their second toxic already, is a huge one to lose. Raptor has worked really well for them as well, but I guess they're both kind of ones you can sort of swap in a sub. You're probably going to see Tammy's team bringing in a Stinger now, and then a Luna. They haven't used any of their Lunas, or their Tempest as well, if they want to get a bit more aggressive rather than, you know, been playing quite defensive so far. One Luna out of the pool already is Zapoc's team. They've lost theirs. We've lost another Raptor with J Device team, but quite similar. You can see between the teams, we haven't seen any kind of crazy curveballs yet. Obviously, with only 4 games and the amount of operators, they don't have to use, you know, 1 or 2 of every operator, but we might see someone having to run maybe a Nox. We haven't seen a Nox yet. Seneva we haven't had yet. And Viron, pretty unpopular as well. There's only been 1 Viron. I thought maybe we might see another one chucking in for, you know, good little push there when you want to push a corner with the propulsion.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Vivid, what about you? Obviously, we're moving to Space City. Anybody you'd prio going into this one?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned it earlier on. I think that Luna is probably going to be prioritized by some of our teams that are kind of thinking about the longevity of their comps. I think Luna's probably going to be that most valuable operator when it comes to Space City, just the dart being able to be used outside, and then the fact that you have these shocks and the grenades. If anybody's kind of watched this type of format in, you know, the global league before, I have seen that the decoding stations, they're usually in like pretty tight corridors, right? Like I've seen it, you know, inside in a little bit of a hallway, just shocks and grenades. You're gonna find incredible value there. It seems like every single time that we kind of watch where the team decides to go towards the decoding station at, it's like a prime spot where Luna's just gonna get incredible value there. You know, only a couple of our teams picking up Luna once each. There's gonna be Mendo and Breadman, and then Zappa gonna be using it both times. So only going to be available a limited time for a couple of those teams, but for a lot of the teams, available 2 times still. So I'm assuming Luna is going to find the most amount of value here.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sammy in particular, I would be very surprised if he wasn't running Luna, frankly. If he ran Raptor the first 2 rounds, he's obviously prioritizing being the information gathering, you know, operator or person or role on his team. So I'd expect to see him run Luna probably as well. You're right, though. The decoding stations on Space City are wild. There is one literally in a hallway, so maybe some Alurus to take care of with some incendiaries. I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna be chaos. We know that for a fact. And then there's the like most notorious decoding station, which is kind of in the middle of what I'm calling the quad, in the central part of the map. It's really not far actually from where you pick up the mantle brick, and that's the one that we've seen the most at the highest level. We saw it in China, we saw it in the stages leading up to China, we saw it in the Delta Force Global League with some crazy plays as well. It's kind of an alleyway between 2 of the buildings inside of the center of the map. So we'll be watching out for those decoding stations and also the T1 spawns. Ben, we talked a little bit about spawns. We talked about some of our teams. Sammy's team got prio spawn T1 in the last round, which means they will not 100% will not have the priority spawn for Space City. How much impact do you think that is playing right now of team first to the brick having a lot more value? Because we've seen it kind of go both ways at this point.
Yeah, definitely gives you a big advantage when you get that brick early in terms of being decisive about where you go, but it doesn't necessarily, you know, put you in an advantageous position because, you know, we've seen the third party, the fourth party, the fifth party be so strong anyway. I think what might be interesting to see if any of those teams who haven't got a Mandel brick yet decide to try and rush for it. They want to try and get onto that leaderboard and commit to that, because obviously only 1 more game after this, so that's 2 more Mandel bricks only up for grabs, and you're going to need at least 1 to be able to beat any of those teams who have 1, and the chance of getting 2 now for those teams with 0 is quite slim. So might see some of those teams who spawn outside trying to get in the middle quickly perhaps, and obviously the launch tower spawn, if you have a team down there, they're going to make a push in early.
I like it. Well, we'll check back in with Ben, our amazing analyst. Great rundowns thus far. Right after this Space City map, Vivid, We're loading in, my man, and I'm taking a look at some of the spawns as we're getting into the action here shortly. Excited to talk about some things. I think a couple big key factors I'm keeping an eye out for is who's first to the brick, who's first to getting blood early, and then also near the end of the game, who's camping that bridge position for extract if the mantle brick has already been taken out and people aren't able to get there fast enough. If we see what we saw in the last map with the team coming out of the Tower of Babel late on Space City, oftentimes Central Command can be that building that maybe you're playing for early, then you're wrapping around for the bridge. I don't know. It's going to be carnage, and these teams are going to get really aggressive, I have a feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Space City is one of those unique maps where everybody kind of spawns outside of the middle, so it's kind of like this dash towards the center. But as you can see here, Zaphok going to be finding early value. That's going to be on the precision end. They were trying to take the zip line across and using the smoke for cover, but I think experienced players like this know exactly where to shoot in a smoke like that, especially when they know exactly where that zip line kind of puts you. So they're going to be going ahead and try to put themselves in an aggressive position here, and absolutely 3 early kills for the team that just secured a mantle brick.
1 HP.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Dang, I love you, Breadman. That is a brutal way to start this game, and honestly, just kind of an unfortunate position on the spawn. Having played it enough and watched it enough, you know this can be a possibility. Went for a bit of a risky play, like you said, to take the zip early and throw the smoke to try to cover, but it just wasn't enough, so an early wipe, and I am getting confirmation, by the way, that is a full team wipe on that Breadman squad. They are out of this lobby already, and we just got started less than 60 seconds ago. Holy cow. Oh, no way.
Oh, man. Zaphok going to be putting shots down on an unsuspecting chap. I have no idea how he's not looking out this way, right? We just heard a fight go down over here. The sniper scav just shot. Everything was kind of televised here to make this well known. Zaphok going to be going on the aggressive right now. Has no armor, equal plays.
No.
It's like laying down, trying to find some cover, maybe trying to rat right now. So far, this whole team, J Device, Equal Plays, and Chap, they just went down, and I think they shot like 2 bullets.
Yeah,
what just happened? We just watched Zaphok team wipe 2 full rosters. Both of those teams are out of this lobby, folks.
He's not.
Oh, there's Gorilla.
Look at this. And Gorilla's like, oh, wow, this is the team that just took out 2 other teams. Let me try to be the 3rd. Gorilla's going to be playing that Tempest right now, right? That ult was going to be activated. So, yeah, that knock does come in, but not necessarily that impactful in terms of a reset there for Gorilla's team. But Zaphok finally getting an opportunity to go ahead and reset right now. Going to be going ahead and repairing the armor. And it looks like one of our teams is already decoding. Is that what I see?
Take some weapon on the guy, okay? You got the same build as
I think so. It should be here shortly, if not already. Crazy stuff happening on this map. What in the world?
Process of elimination. We just saw Gorilla right there was fighting, right? So, and Zaphok's team right here obviously fighting. So there's only 2 other teams left in the lobby, Summit's team and Sammy's team. So it's got to be one of those teams probably decoding whilst all of this fighting is going on.
Yeah, do it.
I can imagine. We'll swap over, I'm sure, as soon as we can. Zap's team trying to get some information on
okay, I need K4 bullets.
Where is this team gone?
See, like someone with K4 bullets, I need. Rockstar, sorry.
I haven't checked anyone. I'm holding Psycho.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna check this body.
All right. Well, they're gonna loot up here inside of the position. Now, I am getting word that Mantle Brick has been decoded, or at least started to decode, rather, like you expected. Now, it is not this team. They are playing around my favorite Mantle Brick decoding station, right in that alleyway I was just talking about just a second ago. But it is Sammy's team that is elected to start the decode early, and they have elected to go indoors. Vivid, you called it perfectly.
Inside of Black Chamber right now, this is actually that hallway that we were talking about. We've seen some crazy plays in this hallway. Look at all the UTA that can find value. I've seen Sneevas kind of walk up to this decoding station and find incredible value. Obviously, mollies and shocks and nades are going to be really, really good on the side of Sammy right now. And the fact that there's only around 2 minutes remaining, and if you take a look at the map on the right side of your screen, no team is kind of trying to work towards a Black Chamber. They're kind of chilling out, and Buoyancy is going to be Zaphok, Centrifuge is going to be Gorilla's team, and Mendo, Summit, and Alb. They're trying to kind of just get in the center right now and figure out what the heck's going on.
We fight. We hold this to our death, okay?
Yep.
Because if we get this right here, we win. Technically, yes.
What do you mean
there
technically?
could be a team coming from garage. It could be a team coming from main reception. It could be a team coming from CEO. If If a team's coming from garage,
Bro just named like half the map.
Yeah, he's like, that could be a team on the map. Oh, okay, well, yeah, you are correct.
I love
Find a bounce for the shock dart right here while we're just chilling. They're gonna steal it probably anyways.
See, I like this because it's like, okay, nice. He's trying to find some like cringe little lineups right now. But if you use that shock, hey, that thing's gonna be on cooldown. And playing Luna, when you get into a sticky situation, you're gonna want both of those. So yeah, he kind of opts to not do that, which I like. A minute and 15 remaining, and with that little time, he's gonna need these shocks very, very soon. Because I'm assuming that some team is gonna make a push at some point in this next minute.
I love it when you call Sammy Strats cringe. It's so good.
Top right, Zapok is going to find a knock onto nowhere, so they actually might be preoccupied, maybe. So much so that they can't push this. We'll have to see what happens here.
45 seconds. Somebody's got to make a move.
Sammy's like about to get pushed, and he's finding spots. This guy has no sense of urgency, I don't think. 30 seconds. I mean, maybe the other teams don't have a sense of urgency. Is anybody going to push this?
We're actually rotating off. I respect that so much.
Coming in.
I say
20 seconds, 20
rotate from
seconds.
the top, maybe. Yep. Play top. Roll cross move. Yeah.
15 seconds. I'm not seeing anybody in a position to push this.
10 seconds, Tempest. This arm does come in, right? So a team is interested in going ahead and push this. Lasik is trying to fend off right now. He finds the knock onto Rockstar. This is going to be Zapok's team. 2 seconds remaining. Can Sammy's team stay alive to go ahead and secure the Mandel brick? They got it. They got it.
Oh, they got it right before he died.
Literally. Like, what was that, a half second?
So as a reminder, folks, if maybe you've tuned into Delta Force Global League in the past or DFI qualifiers or anything like that, in the past, it would not stop the timer and you could post-mortem basically extract and decode the Mandel brick. In this new tournament server, if you full wipe the team that's decoding, it pauses the timer. Zap knows that. He's read the rules. So he knows that if we would have just slayed that team out a second faster, the timer would have been paused on 1 second, we could have stolen. But unfortunately, that is not the case. Sammy goes to 2 mana bricks, but is out of this lobby. We still got a game to play, though, and we still have 11 minutes on the clock. This right here is going to set up everybody else to play for the rest of the leaderboard. Sammy's team hasn't necessarily won yet. There is another team with a mana brick, but they've set themselves up to be a top 2 team. There is no question about it now.
He's below.
Oh my gosh. Mendo sees a player that's going to be right below them right there through the bulletproof glass. The Luna arrow is going to be finding huge value right now, but I think the player snuck in underneath. He did. That's going to be Psych Up, so he's going to be playing third party right now. Mendo finds a knock right there. So now Zapok's team is going to be down to just a duo. Right above Mendo, Summit, and Alb is definitely going to be Gorilla because we just saw Nowhere get knocked right in that position. So now Zapok and Rockstar did not follow up on that aggressive play from Psychop, and they're going to be playing a little bit more, defensive. But, I mean, this map is kind of all about kills right now as Mendo is going to be looting a body in the open. Zapok is like, yo, Mendo, what are you doing, bro?
Looking for some loot.
Wow.
Zap finds Gorilla over the top. It was a 3v2, and now all of a sudden it's a 2v1 on the opposite side. Zap putting on a show for us, folks. You got to remember, Zap's team's the only other team with a brick. So he was able to take down Sammy's squad. It's a full team of 3. He already wiped 2 other teams of 3. This is about to be a monster game for him. Will still be behind Sammy on the leaderboard because Sammy has 2 mana bricks, but has put him in position where if they're able to get the mana brick in the next round, they're Vivid. They'll likely be ahead of them in loot. More fights to be had, though. We got to hunt down Summit.
Zapok has actually shot so many bullets this match that he had to get a reload right there from Rockstar. Drops him 60 bullets right there. The push is coming in, right? The information is going to be found. Summit 1G going to be on the receiving end of Zapok right now. There's going to be one player who's going to be close to him right now. The reload has to come in to kind of stall out this kill, and I don't know how that third player right there just went down. Maybe it was to their own demise, maybe a molly, but I think it's now going to be just one single team left up against Zapok's team. I think it's going to be a 3v2. Rockstar is going to be taking a lot of damage right there.
Now with an M700.
Wait, we can play res on Psycho, but I need smokes actually. I need to grab like a...
just wait for the smokes. You have like 1 minute.
Okay, let's go. I have 4 seconds.
I'm repairing my hammer.
Yeah, you good. Should be a one minute.
Great comms there, but it's a full team of 3 on the other side. It's Gorilla, Nowhere, and Caffrey. Remember, that Nowhere, Gorilla, Caffrey team, they're in a pretty good position, actually, on the leaderboard in terms of loot value. Because, again, our top 3 are getting paid out. We have 6 total teams, and only the top half are making cash today. So if this team right here keeps stacking up their loot and at least just win the fight against Zap, they'll be in 3rd, which is great because they've got a sizable amount of loot, but they'll also be in position if they get the last brick to tie up Zap and potentially pass them on the loot leaderboard. There's still a lot on the line with 8 minutes on the clock in this game.
It's the under audience.
Tout par terre.
Okay.
Wow, they got the res.
Jump.
So now it's going to be a 3v3, right? Gorilla on the alt right there is going to try to make an aggressive play right there. He's going to be knocked, but I think Zaphok and Co are just way too far away from where Gorilla actually is going to be present. Yeah, he's like across the map, by the way.
That's insane. Timpus getting so much value.
Oh,
nice
Nowhere.
Hit the shots, finds him. Psychop goes down.
Remember, if he gets the finish right here, it's going to be a full kill onto Zycop, who's not going to be able to be revived after this. And yep, there it is. So,
Nice.
Yeah, they kind of ran. So I don't know where they ran to.
maybe Nowhere can kind of look over there and get information. Because if he sees that it's a box, he'll know that this is now guaranteed to be a 3v2. And as you can hear, the comms are coming in. They're just going to kind of wait for the Luna ult here, that recon arrow, to give them information.
Door we were just at.
Amazing.
Oh, let's just play this inside here.
Where are they hiding?
I want to go hit other switch if they're down to hit that switch.
Oh, we're playing ramp.
Oh, Gorilla gonna be finding some information with the roll right there. Very, very tricky. Now they know they're on the outside ramp. So they are going to kind of be held into this building. And I did hear Gorilla kind of talking about the switch. So thinking about an extract right now. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, it'll help your stash value out. But Nanobrick has kind of already been captured this match. So leaderboard-wise, you've kind of lost out on that. As
I'm holding behind you, bro.
Zaphok and Rockstar now.
It's like that's the main problem.
A lot of kills. A lot of kills. And trying to pick up 3 more right now. It's going to be pretty much their only objective for the rest of this game.
Wait.
Take this one.
They're literally playing like gun game right now because they have shot so much that they just don't have ammo.
Yeah, they've wiped like what, almost every roster on the map.
I think. Well, let me think.
The problem is I cannot shot bullets on the bot.
I think they literally did.
Yeah, I know.
Or yeah, they did.
Yeah,
They've eliminated the other 4 teams, and now there's one more team in front of them. That's it.
Or the guy.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, the guy. He's hit again. I don't have any bullets.
Yeah, I mean, Caffrey just jumps out of the smoke right there. That's going to be very, very obvious. Gorilla, though, making great use out of that little information play. He's going to be finding the knock on the Zaphok, and Rockstar runs with his knife out. He's like, dude, guys, I have no ammo. All right? Stop, man. All I have is a knife.
They just ran out of ammo. It's crazy.
I'm just gonna get my
Nice cleanup. These guys needed it too. Again, I want to set the stakes. They're the last team on the map. They're going to try to get out on an extract here to set the stakes a little bit going into the last map. Zap's team just earned, golly, I mean, we can do the math, but I mean, they had at least, what, 11, 12 kills, I think? So that's like 12 million. They're jumping up the leaderboard dramatically. Sammy's team barely sneaks out with their second mantle brick. They're going to be in first. Zap's team already has a mantle brick. Doesn't matter their loot value. They're going to be in second. This team is currently in third, and if they get out with the loot that they have, plus the kills that they grabbed, they're going to be in third without a mantle brick, but a high loot value total. Meaning, going into the last round, the leaderboard is ranked by mantle brick, then loot value. So if there's 2 teams tied to the same amount of mantle bricks, it goes by loot value. This team can still play for a second place position, even though they don't have a mantle brick going into the last round.
Yeah, crazy kind of way that this is going to play out in that last game. Yeah, no, I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure Zapok's team literally picked up like 12 kills because I think they full wiped 4 whole trios. Because the initial team onto the bridge, out of sight of Central, boom. And they pushed Chap, got those 3 kills very, very easily. Then they pushed Sammy's team on the mana brick. They did not get the mana brick, but they got all 3 of those kills. And they pushed towards middle. They picked up that first knock onto Mendo, who was kind of looting the body. Then pushed over towards Summit. Oh, they missed that 1 kill, remember? Because I think the Allure Molly of his own demise like took him out. So they should have ended with around like 11 kills.
I think I forgot to grab.
That's crazy, man.
I'm gonna take this guy's ammo.
And now, I mean, hey, you know, Gorilla Nowhere and Caffrey trying to make the best out of the situation, of course, going to try to get as much loot as they can. But, I mean, you're effectively playing for second right now, for sure, if you're any other team than Sammy and Zapok. I mean, Sammy has a huge advantage going into that last game with 2 mana bricks secured. But if Zapok is able to pick up a second mana brick in that last game, then it'll come down to stash value. Things get crazy at that point. Who knows what the stash value is kind of looking at right now? But
Make sure to grab the
you know, hey, this loot could actually play a big part too, extracting here. Because if Gorilla's team is able to pick a mana brick up next game,
yeah, they can
then all this loot, you know what I mean? Boom, boom, boom. Everything kind of switches up. So, a lot to play for here still.
Yeah,
as we
hey,
watch.
look, if you're Team Summit, you're any of our teams, your Team Breadman, you get if you get a mana break next round, you're making money. That's the thing to remember. Like, obviously, you're not coming in with a crazy amount of loot value. Really frustrating start for them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But they can still make cash today. Top 3 getting paid out. You get a mana brick, you're top 3.
Play this together as best as possible.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, well, now it's a waiting game. 70 seconds.
I'm pretty sure she's. No one probably went up there. We got a minute 3 left.
I think right now the only thing you can do is just stack your safe box here. Anything else you can. I would assume anybody that had dog tags put them in their safe box. You're not going to find those on bodies, but certainly part some guns.
Hopefully. I've seen some crazy stuff.
Ooh, here's all the loot.
Let's zoo everyone.
I was looking at some of the loot they had, and I was like, man, this is like, I think nowhere was at like 1 mil, and I was like, dude, there's like 12, 15 bodies down somewhere. Like, how are we not over 1 mil? But Gorilla finding some of the loot there.
Fingers crossed.
But they have no idea, by the way. He's like disarming stuff, and they're like, oh my god, is somebody camping bridge? They have no idea, and there's no way they can know. But yeah, dude, the lobby's been dead.
10 seconds left. Be ready to go.
7-6.
Gonna get out. Lots of loot. A great game for them. Still a lot to play for, folks. A lot going on here in our show match. This is, again, like I said, like a hybrid esports competition. Space City did not disappoint. A lot of action early, a lot of action late. And then we got to watch a team fully extract. I think the first time we got a chance to see that on main so far in our show match. Ben, going to you. Break it down for me. What'd you think of Space City for the first time in this crazy format?
Yeah, it was pretty spicy. We saw Zapok's team come out just killing so early. I think they got Breadman's team wiped within 45 seconds of the round starting. They tried to cross that central zip, got caught out, they got taken down, then they rolled in and took out Chap's team, I think it was, about another minute later. It was just an onslaught from Zapok's team. And then they carried that on, obviously, with the wipe on Sammy's team, but a second too late, maybe. And then another wipe on Summit's team later on, but yeah, not enough. They needed to get the mana brick, but like you were saying, that's still queued up for a finish that could go either way. I think Sammy's team have secured second place now, but if Zapok's team can get a brick in the last game, they can still win it. And if Zapok's team don't get the last brick, then it could go to anyone, because it's anyone's to play for if they get that brick.
Yeah, I like that breakdown. Let's take a look at some of these replays. Like you said, it was a hot start. And Ben, I'll throw it back to you here. Zap's team just got aggro off rip, and it paid dividends.
Yeah, absolutely, and it gave them so much confidence. And then you could see also, as well as the fragging, just that tactical mindset came into it. when they saw that decode going, the other teams were too wary. They didn't want to expose themselves and risk getting killed, and no one else was challenging that. So you saw Zapok's team have to come out, wrap all the way around the south of that middle quad area, and then come in to try and pressure Sammy's team. But they just got there with, like we said, just a second too late, and Sammy's team will be perfectly happy to take that wipe and get that brick out of there. This is just some of those clips from Zapok's team working their way through the lobby, taking out some bots there as well. And as you said on the broadcast, they were just having to swap out random guns, grab whatever ammo they could find, because they were just running out of everything.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, literally, they ran out of bullets on everything. Like, it's insane. Vivid, obviously, here's the cleanup on Summit's team playing from the backside. And I did get word, yes, it was an errant molly that kind of changed things there for that player, so wasn't netted the kill. And then, obviously, the final fight here was one to write home about for sure. Gorilla using Tempest to its finest, Vivid.
Yeah, I mean, using Tempest was fine. It's pretty much just playing the game of attrition, right? Zapok and Rockstar literally just could not fight back at this point. Like, the end of this is just, it just speaks volumes to how this game actually went, right? Rockstar running with a knife out right there, and we know exactly why. As we go ahead and take a look at the leaderboard right there, Sammy's team picking up the mana break. That's going to put them on a total of 2. Did get 0 kills and, you know, did not extract because they went down shortly after, so that's going to be a -4 mil. But hey, look, Team Gorilla, Team Caffrey right there picking up 10 mil in assets. So we were kind of talking about the impact of that. And then, of course, Zapok's team thought it was 11, did a little bit of math. I was wrong, apparently. 10 kills on the match.
Yeah, this is crazy. Obviously, like you said, this is a lot going on at the top of the leaderboard here. Sammy losing out on 3.8 is also going to open the door of opportunity for some of these other teams to still make a play for them. I say other teams, literally only one team. It's Team Zapok is the only team that's going to be able to make a play for Team Sammy, because Team Sammy is the only team with another brick. So big stuff here from Game 3 and a big change for Team Caffrey. Let's take a look at the overall as well. And yeah, talk me through this because Ben, let's go to you. This is looking crazy, and this really does set the stakes for the last map.
Yeah, it looks really interesting now. We've seen kind of a mix there. Previously, the Mantle Bricks had only been taken by teams that had also got loads of kills, but then Sammy's team went for the 0-kill Mantle Brick last time, so they've lost assets and they're on 13 mil. Zapok's team got loads. Obviously, Caffrey's team, with that extract at the end there, they got out a load of value. So if Zapok's team are able to take this last brick, they've got that asset value going into this game. And then Caffrey's team really well set up here to challenge either for 3rd place or 2nd place, depending on where that final brick goes, of course. The other teams a little bit further behind there.
Yeah, I think, again, to set the stakes here, Vivid, it's still playable. Top 3 make money, right? Like, it's still playable for some of these players and some of these teams.
Every team can still get 3rd for sure. Team Caffrey can actually still get 2nd if they pick up a Mandel brick. So, yeah, a lot to play for. Obviously, going into the last game here, one of the things that we don't necessarily talk a lot about, we talk about the asset economy here. The operator economy is going to play a big part here as well. Ben, go ahead and talk us through some of the operators that are left for some of our teams.
Yeah, this is...
absolutely.
Yeah, go for it, Ben. This is obviously the only time where we feel like there's a limiting factor now. Since we're only playing 4 games, there's still a lot of options, but talk to me about some of the limitations.
Yeah, we're quickly running out of Toxics here. We've got a couple of Stingers gone. You can see we've lost a couple of Tempest now as well, but still a pretty good mix. Because of the small amount of games today, it's given everyone options, and I guess we're going to see pretty combinations of the same operators running that we've seen in the previous games. We've seen a couple of Shepherds so far, has been maybe one of the more rare ones, but you know, we haven't seen any Hackclaw, no Nox, no Seneva, and probably will continue that. I think there's some good options still for those teams to take, and I guess Zapok's team probably going to be looking to go for whatever the strongest setup they can, but they've got no Luna left, so I guess bringing in a Raptor is going to be the compromise there. But it'd be interesting to see their other choice. They do have a Toxic left. That's going to be a really big advantage for Zapok's team. Sammy's team doesn't have that. They lost 2 really good ones there, Uluru and Toxic. So going to be interesting to see how those top 2 teams choose their operators for the next game.
Yeah, Vivid, any final thoughts on the operator pool going into the last map?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, Allure is definitely going to find some value there. We saw, you know, that hallway, obviously. Raptor kind of making a little bit of an appearance there. just be comfortable, right? It's game number 4. Some of our teams are still playing for that 3rd place spot. Just go ahead and, you know, pick up your comfort picks at this point, and you know, go ahead and end this last one. Have a little bit of fun with it. I'm actually really surprised we've made it through this whole competition without seeing Seneva, because we have seen incredible value from him and actually going ahead and securing some of those steals onto the mana brick before. No Nox either, no Hacklaw. I know there's a couple players in the tournament that play Hacklaw all the time. They're not playing Hacklaw on this, so
hey, maybe in the last map. Maybe in the last map. They've been saving it for all the marbles. If any of the competitors are sitting in the stream while they're getting their loadouts ready and they're listening, I want to tell you this, and I'm going to tell all the viewers this again. I cannot emphasize this enough. Top 3 are getting paid out, okay? If you have a mana brick, you're at the top of the leaderboard, and then we're rating via loot value. If you have no money, you got nothing to your name, and you're going in, say you're going in with a recruit ticket. I don't care what you're using. You can get a mana brick and still make cash today. If one of our teams at the bottom, I'm going to use Breadman's team as an example. I love this team. Unfortunately, they've had some bad luck this tournament. If they get this mana brick, they're still making cash, even though they got basically no stash value. So it is still playable for everybody. This last map is very important. We've got 10 grand on the line, and Sammy's team has 2 bricks, but they are not safe. They can still lose if Zap's team gets the final brick. So stakes couldn't be higher. We know who has the best position, but it is still possible for anybody to make some cash. Back to Space City, though. A lot we can talk about, I think, before we start this map. Our players are probably going to take a little bit longer before the final map to get their loadouts ready. So, Ben, I want to go back to you here to talk to me about some strategy, depending maybe on where you're at on the leaderboard. Like, how does the strategy different if you're a team near the bottom versus Sammy's team who's at the top trying to play defense?
Yeah, I think hopefully we'll see the teams put a lot more focus on the mana brick. Last time, teams were being a little bit hesitant. We had to wait for sort of Zapok's team to go and pressure that. Hopefully now they will realize, like you just said, any of those teams on anywhere on that leaderboard could still get 3rd place just by grabbing a mana brick. Doesn't matter how much money they get, they've just got to get the decode. So that's got to be everybody's priority now. Money isn't really going to come into that positioning quite as much. And like you say, spawns also have a big impact on that. We saw teams wiped so early last game, maybe because of poor sort of route choicing right at the start. They could have taken more safer routes. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects people's decision making. If you got wiped out very early in the last game, then you might decide to go into this playing a little more cautiously because you don't want to end up like that again.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. And Vivid, I think my eyes actually turned towards Sammy's team. They're the only team that could play for loot, technically, because they have the advantage. What do you think they're going to do?
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually just thinking about how they could go ahead and secure the win. I really like that shot right there. Yeah, could just go ahead and stack up a bunch of reds and loot and gold and everything like that and just go ahead and make sure that they extract. Or kind of the secondary thing is just make sure Zapog's team does not get the mana break, you know, any means necessary. Go ahead and prevent that. However they do that. I mean, hey, listen, we don't know how it's going to play out. They could go ahead and secure a 3rd mana break. That could be their win con. But yeah, definitely 2 different ways for them to go ahead and play this. It'll be interesting to see which one they actually go ahead and decide with. It's also kind of important to think about the fact that I believe the tiebreaker is based off of stash value. So if Sammy's team technically brings in less, they're risking less, they'll lose less if they lose, right? So
100%.
Kind of something to think about as well.
100%. That is a great shout. They could play defense. They could play protect by bringing in crap loot. It's just a little bit of kind of leaving the game into your opponent's hands, though, right? Like, I don't know. It's not my favorite play style. The best defense is the best offense in my mind. I'm going to get super aggressive if I was in their position, but I don't know if it's necessarily the best strategic play. Ben, what do you think? Do you think they're going to play slow or going to play fast?
I think they'll come in geared. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Sammy's team not play so fast at the start. They don't really need to. They can wait and see who decides to go for the mana brick, and they can play off that. They can pick up kills around the mana brick instead of looting, because you're going to get 1 million for every kill you get. And then if they see Zapok's team trying to go for that Mandal, then they can decide that they need to full commit. But if any other team is taking the Mandal, then they don't need to worry about it because they know they're still going to win. So I think they'll maybe take a measured approach, although, I mean, that's not an approach I've traditionally seen Sammy take, but we'll see how they play at this game.
That's so true, right? If it was anybody else, maybe we could think of some different strategies. But yeah, Sammy's not necessarily known to be measured. But okay, well the game is getting started. I'll go back to you, Ben, one more time. Any final words for the competitors or the chat before we get into the final map of the day?
You know what? I want to see Zapox team come out, storming like last game, rolling out in the lobby, and that confidence they got from that going out there, taking the fight to Sammy's team. I think that's what we want to see, and we have a big show off to those top two. I think it's going to be fire.
Heck yeah, man. Well, thanks, Ben, for the great analysis. Let's jump into the game, folks. Vivid, it's the last map of the day. We're only playing 4. They feel like they're going insanely fast, but we love Space City. I think we're going to see some early action again.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I've been kind of looking at some of the streams out there, kind of pondering around, seeing what the loadouts are looking like. I know. I'm kind of cheating. I'm not waiting for the information to pop up. Good friend Void, he's gonna be jumping in with a loadout that we kind of saw in the first game, right? Just like blue armor, a P90. He had 500 total alloy left after he was done buying everything. So he was definitely running on a budget going into this last game. So that kind of just sets up the storyline. If we see, Breadman, Precision, and Void actually able to go ahead and secure a mana brick, they basically did it on a very, very limited amount of currency. So it would be awesome to see. But yeah, obviously some of our teams in a big advantage. Talking about the spawns, right? Space City, it's known for them. Sammy sucks. They're going to be getting this Westgate spawn over here, which I think is pretty good.
I can't believe that Zap and Sammy both got the closest spawns to the brick, technically. Obviously, we do see, I want to say that was Chop swinging across the zip through mid. So I'll be curious to see if maybe they get really aggressive here. Oh. And no, it's actually nowhere. Caffrey Gorilla going to get down to Buoyancy Lab first and be able to make a play pretty quickly towards the brick.
Yeah, I mean, all of these teams just got to be well aware of the stakes that are at hand here. They all know they need a mana brick. And this is risky right here, crossing this. Yeah, we do know that there can only be one team behind them. That's going to be that central team, which I think is Shap's team, as they cross this. Hopefully, they go ahead and make it across these pipes. The smoke is going to...
What the heck?
Not land on top of the pipe. Listen, this is tricky. If you play the smoke character, you can't throw it in between those pipes because it falls down. You have to make sure you land it on top of a pipe. So, Summit, probably not, necessarily playing the smoke character before, does not know that, unfortunately. But now he knows.
Okay, that's nice. Let's go up and... I respect Summit for competing today too, right? Like he's been basically playing Delta Force for a week now. Has gotten, by the way, if you guys have been watching his streams, so much better. They've been crushing it recently towards the end of this week with this bingo against Hutch. Like Hutch said, getting kind of slammed by Summit in the competition. If Hutch, you're watching, you said it, not me. I don't know what to tell you. But we're going to see what they're able to do playing around mid. They're going to get pretty aggressive here. Here's where the brick is. It's dead center of the map. All around, again, I call this kind of the quad around Black Chamber, Centrifuge, Buoyancy, etc. Everybody getting aggressive here because they know it's at stake, like you said. Zap's team going to be kind of the latest to the party aside from Bread. Red Squad, again, the lowest gear on the map in terms of quality, may just try to play the third party and play nice and slow. They're also playing around the dormitory decoding station. So if somebody grabs his brick and tries to get out of dodge, they may walk right into the trap of Breadman's team.
Early on, though, we did see the boss being taken out. Was in the center right there. If that boss doesn't get taken out, by the way, the mana brick is effectively just guarded by the boss and go. So cool to kind of see that happen right now. But we can see a giant conglomerate of teams here towards the middle. But look at this, Sammy's team. We talked about which strategy are they going to play. They're going right for it. They don't care. They want to secure first place. And yeah, wow. It's actually a very good usage of the ult right there. Picking up the mana break and returning back on the Tempest.
Really close. Could be up here. Could be up here. Stay tight. Stay tight. Stay tight.
Obviously, everybody knows that when somebody picks up the mana brick,
not really that close.
Everybody gets the timer.
You want dart?
Everybody knows what the mana brick is. Oh, they're going to plant. This is the outside position. This is the iconic decoding station at Space City. They're going to plant it. They're going to start it. Decode has started, and everybody knows it's Sammy's team.
Wow, this could play out very, very differently, right? Think about it. Gorilla's team right now, Caffrey's team, they're in third just based off the stash value alone. So if Sammy's team does pick it up, then they'll be in third. But equal plays kind of riding around right there is going to pick up nowhere right there, which is going to be Gorilla's team. So Caffrey and Gorilla are going to try to fend off this push here from Equal and Chat. But as this is going on, remember, the mana break is currently being decoded.
Plenty of time. But everybody knows. I saw some chatter in the Discord during our in-between time. Everybody was like, why did nobody attack faster on the brick? Anybody want to talk to me about that? And I think this time everybody's going to get pretty aggressive. It looks like all of our team's kind of swarming around this brick.
Smoke you out.
It's going to be, in the words of Ben, utter carnage as we get into it. Speaking of carnage, down goes nowhere. Gorilla is deep in trouble, but down... that Tempest is so valuable. Holy cow.
One here.
Yeah, they're going to be playing on the staircase right now. I think Equal is calling it. There's a player on the right here. I think they're both on the staircase. So I think it was... Is it a scav that's kind of making them play this entirely differently? If they knew that both players on the staircase, they would...
Is he pushing?
Definitely start to play this differently. Yeah, Scav, right, finally gets called in right now, so Equal's probably going to get the information needed to call out that both of them are going to be towards the staircase right now. And as I say that, Jadavi is actually going to go down while this push is coming from Equal. Precision is going to be on the backside, shooting them in the back. Precision and Co, we know that they spawned over by dorms. They were kind of hanging out over there, but now they're finally trying to get into the mix of things, and Gorilla takes full advantage and takes out Chat.
Oh. It is chaos already, and this isn't even around the brick. It's in the neighboring buildings. You can see it right here. Breadman, Precision, and Voet.
Shit was smoked up.
Got an opportunity to make a big play as kind of the underdogs right now in this tournament. They're coming in with the lowest quality loot, the lowest stash value. Technically in last, but still a chance to play for some money if they're able to get the brick. Oh, we're worried about, though. Getting really aggressive. Let's listen into their comms as they go for a 3v2 with one knocked.
Water, please help me. Here too much raining.
Yeah.
They hit me with that they hit me with that ult. I'm gonna need some help here, Lasik. I'm gonna swing around and move.
One down, one down.
Wow.
Huge pick.
Risky peek there from Lasik. I was like, no way he's doing this right now, but ends up getting the knock off of it. They lost possession of the mana brick, but hey, listen, they're going to be a trio still alive, so this is huge.
And this is exactly what happened in Zero Dam for them, right? They started the break, they were able to back off, and then they get hit. Luckily, the fight gets crazy, and they're able to just back up and say, it's fine. They can just reset the timer. We got plenty of time to still play as a team. Now a full team of 3. Zap's re-upped as well. These are the 2 teams at the top of the leaderboard. Really important that they're able to stay alive and still play for the win. And we see Equal Plays doing the opposite, just playing to survive right now after getting pinched by Breadman's team.
I mean, this 3-team fight that's kind of happening out here is just leaving the mana brick completely isolated, right? And actually, it's going to be a 4-team fight because now Mendo's team is over here. So this whole fight is just being invested into by every single team over here. And now Sammy's team and Zapok's team are basically left in the 3v3 for the mana break.
Precision picks up a big wipe there on Equal Plays. He'll know that's a wipe as well. Full teams out. So the 3v3 around Brick, the most important fight. But the underdogs have come in and cleaned up a team. And now we've got 4 teams on the map.
Knock, knock, knock.
Oh my gosh. Another snipe from Zapok right there as Sammy tries to peek out. Pushing in here might not be so easy. They don't even have to, right? Just like, heck it. Yeah, you guys got to go ahead and res this. The timer is going to continue to dwindle on this mana break. This could end up being a fight for literally first place. And no, they're going to actually go ahead and opt to go ahead and push in. The Toxic ult to follow up behind. The snipe's going to be held out on the backside of the corridor. Zappa gets knocked on the backside of things. Muyo is going to be picking that one up. But Lasik goes down in return. It's going to be a 2v1. Muyo is the only thing left alive to kind of hold it down for Sammy's team right now in first place.
Sidecap's going insane, but on the other side, a big fight. Gorilla and Caffrey down. It's nowhere, I think, versus Voet with the P90. Voet's going huge for the underdog team. They're still alive, and they're still fighting for third, but he's getting shot in the back. Voet able to dodge for now. Finds a peek over the top. A big takedown, but nowhere's not done yet. There's still players alive. The question is, who's the solo still alive for Purple? Who's the solo still alive for Breadman squad?
Gotta be Precision, maybe. Or, yeah, like you mentioned it, Breadman. Though it looked like he was going to be in his element right there. Very used to the P90. The Tempest disarm is going to come in. Precision's going to go ahead and pick up the Elim onto Caffrey right there. Luna Arrow is going to play a big part of this. It looks like it's going to be a 1v1. Precision's going to go in for the peek while he's on scan. That was risky, but nowhere. 50 HP and purple ammo loaded. The roll's going to be coming out over there to the left side of things. Head glitch versus head glitch.
Attention, operator.
Snipe misses.
One shot away from potentially winning this fight. Reminder, there's still a brick fight happening on the other side. We'll pop over if absolutely necessary. Something's happening over there that we're going to have to pay attention to. But this fight also matters quite a bit because we still have plenty of time on the decode, and Voet gets fooled. Gotta pay attention to the brick as well. So we don't want to miss anything, and that's exactly, I think... Oh, no, wait.
Yeah. Sammy's team is...
Yeah, they killed
they're
Roy.
out. So
Sammy's team full out. Zap playing for the brick. It looks like Zap has full control over the brick right now. They will tie Mandelbricks with Sammy's team. And if they're able to stay alive on the map as well as get the brick, there's a chance. But the fight on screen, it does look like Precision gets fooled. And I want to say that's a full wipe on that team. Oh my gosh. Almost hero plays from Breadman Precision. Insane stuff from Voet playing the hero with the P90. Just couldn't quite grab this full team wipe.
great stuff from nowhere there, and you can see they've got one thing in mind. They probably hear some of those shots going off in the distance. They know some sort of fight just went down, but why worry about anything else other than this decoding station right now? 1 minute separates them and a chance. I'm not going to say it's a secured first place. It's a chance at second place. It's going to come down to how much they can actually extract from this game.
Yeah, 100%. And this is, I think, based on the map and all the fights we've seen, I'm getting confirmation. This is a true 3v3. We've gotten a full revive here on everybody for Nowhere, Caffrey, and Gorilla. It is Nowhere, Caffrey, Gorilla versus Zap, Psychops, and Rockstar. This is huge for many reasons. The main one is this. If Zap's team gets the brick, they have a chance to play for first. If this team gets the brick, they have a chance to take second and drop Zap's team all the way down to third place. A lot at stake here. We're talking about thousands of dollars in terms of pricing that will shift based on what happens in this 3v3.
Yeah, Gorilla's team is looking like they're going to try to rush up the ramp. They've only got 20 seconds to work with. They have to clean up this trio in 15 seconds and get it on the brick. Gorilla gets knocked out. That's going to be the toxic ult, putting him very, very low. So that way the body shot is actually able to go ahead and find the knock right there. Does not need a headshot. So great shot right there with Gorilla knocked and only 5, 3, 2, 1 seconds remaining. Zapbox team has successfully secured the second mana brick. They are now tied up. And think about it. How important are these kills? 1 million apiece for the stash value. That could potentially put them in first place.
Watch out, Rockstar. No, don't.
Crazy stuff right now. And this is all ego plays. Now, if I'm obviously Gorilla's team, I want to make sure. I don't know what's happened on the rest of the map. I don't even know if this is the only other team on the map, technically.
They're at the end of it.
I have to make sure I at least get third. And we know that. I assume they know that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
But if I'm Gorilla's team, we have to win this fight. Like, we have to take it as well. Because we need to make sure we have as much loot value as humanly possible. Kills are 1 million each. And if we can push ourselves up to where nobody else can touch us that fell earlier in this map, we at least make some cash. They know Zap's team got the brick, and therefore they're out of the conversation for anything top 2 related. But they can still play for third by making sure they have loot value and kills.
I think Team Caffrey was so far ahead of the other 3 teams. I think third is actually secured for them just based off of stash value right now. So the only team that this fight actually matters for is going to be Zapbox team. Because they need to extract. They probably need to get the kills because I don't know if they've actually looted anything. It looks like they're worried about the switch. They're worried about the fight that was just coming in right there. So yeah, it's just gonna be a matter of can Zapbox and co make sure that they find enough value in this match to overtake Sammy in first place.
Yeah, or at the very least, just extract in general. Like, if they can just get out of the map and protect all of the loot value that's already on their bodies, that could help a lot as well.
Okay, you hear me out? We just need to fight. We need to kill this last team, and we extract.
Yeah, man, they're talking about it. They know exactly what they need to do. They need to kill this team, and they need to extract. That's pretty much it. Because, I mean, those kills, 1 million apiece, are just worth so much.
Yeah, this is a big moment. I totally agree. I mean, Zap says, we just need to do this. You're basically saying you need to do everything because you need to get the kills and extract, but I don't know the math. I don't want to start predicting anything. But if Zap's team gets wiped and does not extract at all, I don't know if they beat Sammy's team. It's going to be close.
Yeah, not sure either. And you can see Nowhere knows that stash value is gonna play a factor in this, so they're trying to loot all of the bodies over here. There's probably there's literally 3 or 4 teams over here in front of Buoyancy because this is just a giant fight on the map. So all the loot's pretty much over here, and Zapbox and co, they're gonna get early position on the extract with 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. push has to come in. They actually have a Luna. Nowhere's going to be on the Luna right here, so it's going to be huge for value. I think he's going to actually get the scan onto all 3 players with that dart.
And Zap's team's obviously first to rotate to bridge. They could technically play over the top if they wanted to.
No, just stay here, Rockstar. Stay here, Rockstar, okay?
Oh my god.
I think the snipes are coming in from middle from Team Caffrey.
No, I just hear the...
This is so sneaky. This is a very annoying position to deal with for Team Caffrey. All right, as they're trying to push the extract, they've got this guy that's going to be offset over here, off to the side. That's going to be on permanent head glitches. So very, very annoying.
Here's a quick look. I love this perspective. We got free cam. We've got both teams' perspectives. Just trying to peek each other, paying attention to that extract timer.
Check above us.
And I wonder if I'm Zap as well. There's a chance we win even if only 2 of us extract. So Zap could just play this off angle the entire time. I know he doesn't want to risk that, but I think mathematically they could definitely get away with that. It might be worth playing pretty far on a cross angle to try to get one on a pick, but here we go.
Yeah, Gorilla's going to be approaching from the other side over there. The dart's going to come out, try to get a ping here so Gorilla can try to find an angle on somebody, but because they're playing so spread apart, the Luna arrow actually only finds information on one of them. Nowhere's kind of questioning where could the other 2 be. Gorilla kind of pushes up enough to right under the bridge, and what a huge shot from nowhere. Finds out Rockstar, who's going to be sitting on the extract. The full kill comes in, so that extract's not going to be possible. But Zaptrack on the return side of things. Caffrey goes down right now. Now Zypok tries to get aggressive, does get aggressive. Nowhere goes down, and Gorilla's trying to hit some shots, but Gorilla has position on the extract. Gorilla's under the bridge.
What in the world? We've lost Rockstar. Sidecop goes crazy, though. It's a trading of blows, but they only got 28 seconds on the clock. Nowhere goes down. Where's the angle underneath? Insane stuff from this roster to be able to get the kills and get the extract, I believe. Holy cow. And in time before the map ends, I mean, this team really did it all this map, and they needed to do it all in order to secure the win over Sammy's team. This will likely be a champion moment in that final fight. Pure cinema, they needed to do everything that they did, and they nearly perfectly executed their plan.
Yeah, everything they could have asked for right there. Even though they fought, even though Rockstar ended up getting fooled right there at the end, was able to get the res off with like a second remaining, so they all get out full value in hand. I think after those 3 kills come in, the fact that all 3 extracted, I would now be surprised if they're in first place.
I agree. Ben, what do you think about that one? Obviously a banger last map, and it didn't quite play out like I thought it would. Breadman's team almost played crazy spoiler on that map.
Yeah, crazy ending there. We saw obviously fighting over the extracting not really been very high on anyone's priority list over the course of the tournament, but last game they need to maximize the money they get, so that is a real issue. And you know, like you talked about, there was a genuine contest there between trying to take second on the leaderboard or push the third while the Mandel brick was still up, and then even right at the end there was still a chance to try and fight for extra money to get into that 3rd spot. But the early game was kind of dominated by that big fight that distracted everyone out the north end of Buoyancy. Loads of teams fighting there, and then it just became this 3v3 between Zapok and Sammy's team, and Zapok's team came out on top there.
Yeah, let's take a look back at some of those replays too, because it started here. Obviously, we were a little bit worried about the pipe crossing, but this is where things really kicked off, right? Sammy's team decided to say, hey, fortune favors the bold yet again. We're going to use Tempest to get the brick. We're going to plant it, and we're going to start things off. Obviously, we got a chance to see this kind of alleyway position that is very difficult to hold in some ways and has some really engaging fights. But Ben, back to you here. This is where things got real messy for a couple of our teams.
Yeah, this fight was going on for quite a while, and I think we had 3, maybe 4 teams got involved at different points. This is just jumping back when Zapok's team were making that push up onto the brick there, and some of the Tempest plays we saw during this, they go so far. We saw it with the Mandel brick being taken there. We saw, I think it was maybe Gorilla or someone go flying up the staircase. You can just go absolutely miles, but yeah, because of this big fight out here, this kind of just let the 2 teams in the middle, the 2 teams fighting for that top spot essentially, fight it out, and we saw some huge sniper knocks from Zapok. There was one, and that was the second one on Sammy. We saw an early one on Mew Mew that got revived, but after that one on Sammy, I think that's the one they pushed in, and then ended up getting traded out and dominated that area, and then we ended up in this final fight. There's Mew Mew actually taking the Mandel brick there, but I think that's where they got caught out and wiped in the end.
Yeah, they had to go for the reset there just to reset the timer, and there's Nowhere as well. I mean, think about how many times Nowhere, Gorilla, and Caffrey were in trouble on this map too, Vivid. I mean, to be able to be almost last alive and play for this final fight, I think that snipe right there kind of thwarted any sort of advance where they just had to relent and say, fine, we'll at least stay up and try to play for this final moment. But Vivid, talk to me about this final fight. Obviously, it was chaos as well, but this knock really opened things up. We thought for this side of things, for the Nowhere side of things.
Yeah, I mean, just unfortunately, Zapok's team was able to get control over pretty much the entirety of the outside over towards the bridge, right? And the fact that the Luna arrow kind of coming in from the side of Nowhere, they only kind of picked up that one single player's information. The other angles were just way too hard to kind of deal with after that point. They're kind of just running into the X-Shock, hoping for the best there. And yeah, Zapok's team just positioned very, very well on the X-Shock at the end there. They knew exactly what they needed to do, executed perfectly.
Yeah, really well done from that team. And yeah, Bin, I mean, obviously we're waiting on the final rulings here, the final math that has to be done in our lobby to make sure that we have our winners. But we know our top two no questions asked. And I think we know our third no questions asked. I mean, talk to me a little bit about that Gorilla squad. They did a really good job of staying alive. Obviously, they lose the final fight, but they stay alive all the way until the final fight and have crazy loot, by the way, in almost every single map.
Yeah, we were seeing them at the end of pretty much every game, right? They were one of the last two teams remaining in most of the games today, and despite not coming out with the Mandel brick in any of them, like you say, they built up a huge amount of money, just getting those kills, chipping away at it, and like we saw, just having that big payday you get from those kills just really made people focus on getting those, not running off and looting. There wasn't really too much value in that. It was about taking the PvP and winning those fights, and that's going to work out really well for Gorilla's team, I reckon.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It'll be fun to really look at those scores and officially declare our champion, of course. I think we all know what has happened based on the way that map ended, but either way you look at it. Vivid, what do you think about this format, dude? This was nuts. I mean, it was breakneck speed. We only had 4 maps, so if you go down early, it's a little tough to get back into it, but overall, some great action.
Yeah, it was super fun. I feel like the economy changes, right? The fact that everybody kind of got those 1 million technicalities after every single game kept everybody kind of in some loadouts that was pretty fresh. They didn't necessarily have to worry so much about looting. Of course, looting and stash value did end up playing a part in this specific competition because of how the leaderboard ended up panning out. So kind of something to play for there as well. But yeah, it just kept everybody super aggressive because, you know, 1 million technicality as well for a kill. And then on top of that, 150,000 for a dog tag. Yeah, just played exactly to how I think that everybody kind of wanted it to when they talked about how the format was going to play out. Just wanted everybody to be aggressive, play for the mana breaks, and just keep it rolling throughout.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think, too, I mean, a fun thing to talk about, look, this was on NA servers. Like, this is mostly NA teams, and I think our champions may not have been North American. Let's take a look at it. Who won this entire tournament? 4 games. They get 2 bricks. They got a ton of loot. It is Team Zapok with Psycop, Rockstar. All 3 players put on a show for us today. And frankly, this was a team effort underneath Zapok's leadership there. Not a surprise to me. I expect this team to at least be top 2, but they were able to get the win. Ben, talk to me about this team's efficacy and actually walk me through the leaderboard in particular, because at the end of the day, this is the overall leaderboard. It wasn't all that close.
Yeah, I mean, we say it's not close. In terms of money, obviously, Caffrey's team had so much, but it's the Mandel bricks that it comes down to. And then that gap between Zapok's team and Sammy is, pretty big in the assets in the end. A lot of that comes down to maybe that 0-kill Mandel brick game that Sammy's team had in our first Space City, and then Zapok's team just had 2 really aggressive games in a row, getting a whole bunch of kills, and then huge amount of assets there. But great work from Caffrey's team. They played that really well. Realized they couldn't get those Mandel bricks, but just secured that 3rd place, and that's money. That's leaderboard.
Yeah, and Vivid, obviously something we can shout here. I mean, you probably see it too. What if Team Caffrey would have grabbed that last brick?
Yeah. I mean, not even just that last brick, any of the other bricks, right? We saw their reluctance to kind of play for the brick in a lot of those games as well. They could have came out with a little bit of an extra prize pool right there. But yeah, the fact that they came out with the most total assets is incredible right there. Is going to be securing them third place. And I mean, the difference in how much they actually were able to come out with over the course of the day and some of the other teams is incredible.
Yeah, and again, it's like, man, there was so much at stake in that last round and that last fight even before the mantle brick was, if Team Cavalry gets it, they technically beat Zap, and yeah, push Zap down to third too, which is crazy, even just in that last round, but anything could have happened on any of the other maps. Remember, Zap's team also killed Sammy's squad inside on our first Space City map, and they still got the code with literally 1 second. I mean, a 1 second difference changes the game. Thousands of dollars potentially going to a different team. But we got to bring in the man, the myth, the legend, Zapok himself. Dude, Zap, it is great to have you back in the booth. You and I have had a chance to talk many times on LAN, in person, and online. How does it feel to get a show match win in this crazy format?
It feels very good actually. I enjoy like the show match so much. Even with my teammate Rockstar and Psychop, it was like crazy. And thanks Delta Force actually like to do some stuff like this because, for example, like Summit, like first time also like trying some new game Delta Force and also some new mods. So it's very good actually also like for the games, and love it.
Yeah, awesome stuff there. Congratulations again, Zapok. Talk to us a little bit about the team dynamic, right? You and the other two on the team. Talk about us about how like maybe the operator decisions kind of played out, the decisions around the map, right? The IGL, and kind of how that played out for your team and why it was so successful.
I mean, we just play basic Delta Force. Basically, we try to have like a balanced team. So one recon, one support, like which is smokes, like toxic or like stinger, and we have like Psycho play assault like a bunch of times on pubs. So we were putting like Rockstar on recon. Since he played Delta Force a long time ago, I was playing smokes and tried to IGL the team, and Psycho was just like frying and entry frags.
And for those watching, like obviously you guys are out there fragging crazy, particularly those last 2 games where you had a ton of kills. Have you three, do you play regularly together? Was this a team we had to grab together last minute, or are you old school, been playing for years?
I play a bunch with Psychop because we don't have that much friend player on the game. So I play a bunch of time with Psychop. Rockstar, I never play with him. It was actually like first time playing with him. So we just actually like try to have like some good rotation. We can catch up people because the space is very open field area. So if people are like open field, it's very easy to kill them, and the job works actually. So.
Dude, you guys absolutely crushed it. I loved all the calls as well. That final setup fight. Talk to me about what you were feeling, obviously, or maybe what the conversation was. We heard a little bit of the comms, but break down the final moment. You're guarding the mantle brick. You just wiped Sammy's team. You know you have a position to win the game as long as you have solid loot. What were the comms like when you were protecting that final mana brick, and then when you got it, knowing that you got to get out of here? We got to make sure we have enough loot.
The comms was like I was trying like to help like Rockstar and Psychop to positioning, so we have like good positioning like to avoid like other teams to come. We hear a team like just pushing up ramp, like it was like the Gorilla team. So we just like completely rotate, take better positioning like to avoid them like to take the break. And after that I was just like the comm was like just guys, we need to pull, we need to extract because Sammy's team have a lot of money and we need to go out like to win. So we just go for the pull instantly, try to take the rotation like to have like the extraction like position, and it works, so it was perfect.
W. Hey, I listen, man, I loved it. I thought you guys did a fantastic job. It's great to see you back on a podium again. I want to give you a second here. Obviously, you play a ton of Delta Force. Shout out yourself, shout out your teammates.
Insomma, ha vinto il team Zapok, ragazzi. È stato veramente bravo, dai. Insomma, ha vinto il
Big
team
shout out to
Zapok,
Rockstar, you can
ragazzi.
find him on Twitch.
È stato veramente bravo, dai.
Like a French streamer also on Delta Force. And for myself, I stream Delta Force almost every day. Try to do like all the time tournaments, try to be pro on the game actually. So just you can find us on Twitch all the time. We are streaming, and merci à tous les fans français. On vous aime les gars, et puis installez le jeu, install the game and try it, guys. It's a very good game. So
heck yeah, man. Thanks again, congrats again, and I'm sure we'll see you in some future competitions, maybe not too far away. Thanks for jumping in with us.
Thank you, Koji. Thank you, Vivid, and thank you, the Birgat.
Yeah, congratulations.
Cheers. Cheers. All right, that was Zap representing his team. Obviously, Psychop Rockstar played a big part in their win.
Thank you.
Ben, what do you think about the interview? Obviously, great guy, representing the Frenchman very, very well, and a big win for them today.
Yeah, I'm hyped to see Team EU come out on top. I love that. We got a chance to meet Zapok when we were out in China for the event last year. I think you said earlier he was coaching the NA team, I think, then.
Yeah.
But yeah, great to see him win. I think the way they chose to play, you know, there was smart tactics there, good aggression, great snipe hits. I think it was well-deserved in the end. You know, good fight from the other teams, but I'm really pleased to see Zapok's team come out on top there.
Yeah, they certainly earned it. I mean, Vivid, any other reactions to the interview? It seems like he knew exactly what they needed to do, and they were able to execute it.
Yeah, I mean, just seemed cool, calm, and collected. Kind of talked about how he had some chemistry there. One of the teammates knew that the third there played Delta Force before, so coming into this, definitely felt really, really confident. Just had a straight up, you know, textbook kind of play style. They were like, hey, listen, we just came in and we just played typical Delta Force. Had kind of the layout for the operators that they wanted to go ahead and choose, making sure, you know, smokes, recon was kind of in the mix right there. And the individual skill definitely was the most important thing right there. We saw it in games 3 and 4 specifically, where just the kills were flying in for them. Definitely well-deserved win for the trio there.
Totally agree. Well, before we wrap, we got to show the overall pricing for all 3 of our teams that made some cash today. Of course, thank you to all of our creators for competing today. But the 3 teams making money, Team Zapok, Team Sammy, and Team Cathry. 6K, 3K, and 1K for our $10,000 prize pool. You earned it, gentlemen. We had some mantle bricks for the 2 teams at the top, and then a crazy amount of loot. The most, by the way, in the entire lobby for Team Caffrey. So big congrats to all 3 of these teams and all 9 of these players. You're at least walking away with a little bit of cash for all of your efforts in these crazy, chaotic, carnage-ridden 4 games of this crazy esports hybrid format that we created. So yeah, proud of these guys, and thanks for everybody, Shamit, Mindo, everybody that competed, Breadman and his whole team. It was a lot of fun to watch all of you compete, and I think it was actually, frankly, very, very close. But I want to thank both of you gentlemen as well. Thanks for joining me in the booth today. This was a chaotic one and a lot of fun. I want you guys to give a chance to kind of wrap up the show. Any final words for the broadcast?